Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Bucs fans were there too. These Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
Howdy, hey, howdy, ho. How the hell is everybody? Wow. This is great. It's been a while. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July, had a great holiday week, and everybody's all ready to roll as we get going here on the Buccateers. This is our first episode in a week and a half, approximately, and I'm excited. I'm amped up to be able to talk Buccaneers football and off-season football with all of you guys alongside the great J-Lo. We're going to waste no time bringing in the great J-Lo today. J-Lo, how the hell you doing, my man? Long time no talk. Hope all is well with you. Always a great time to talk some Buccaneer football and the Buccateers with you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What it do, Tones? How was your 4th? Was it good?
It was good. You know, I still got 10 fingers for now. I still got 10 toes for now. My arms seem to be intact. My head seems to be screwed on, not all the time, but now at least. So we're doing pretty good as of now, my man. The 4th was great. Hot dog eating contest and lemonade drinking contest, always enjoyable. Went golfing, got a baseball game in, got a Cubs game in, did a lot of fireworks and all that good stuff. How about you, brother? You spend some daddy-daughter time as our friend Bud Cannibalist checks in. Hello, Bud. How the hell are you? Hope you had a great 4th, my man.
No, it was good. You know, I had the kiddos, went to the beach, you know, for a few hours, and then made some burgers and dogs later on that night. It went nice and smooth, you know. Nothing too crazy, just something simple with the kids, man. Just enjoying that time while I can.
Yeah, and we got Tommy Brown in the house on Facebook checking us out. We do appreciate it. TB12, not TB12, but we got TB in the house nonetheless. The great Tommy Brown. And we got Bud Cannibalist, as I said, Cleve and me in the house as well. The boys are back and closer to training camp. Yes, sir. The hell we are, Cleve and me. And we'll have the great Gene joining us shortly as well. He'll be on in a matter of moments. And for those of you worried, early start time tonight, don't get used to it. We went a little earlier for programming maintenance, routine maintenance tonight, but we'll revert back to our normal 6:15, 6:20 p.m. Eastern kickoff on next Monday or Tuesday show. But for now, we bumped up a little bit earlier, and the Buccateers are with you early here on a Taco Tuesday, and we got a lot to break down. We got a lot to get into, J-Lo. People might say it's the off-season. Training camp's not here yet. What the hell do you fellas have to talk about? Well, first and foremost, we got camp battles. We got Bucs players getting married. We got former Bucs Super Bowl champs rumored to be making returns, J-Lo. It's all kinds of crazy shenanigans right now in this neck of the woods for Buccaneers football. And we got more Bucs getting snubbed on some top 10 lists to surprise of who? Nobody. No Bucs fans are surprised. And I like being snubbed like the old days, but for those of you that missed it, Vita Vea was left off the list of the top 10 nose tackles in football, according to ESPN and Jeremy Fowler. And then Rashad White left out of the top 10 running backs, which wasn't surprising, but he was even left out of the honorable mentions. J-Lo, we're used to it as Bucs guys. We're used to getting knocked down and not get brought back up. What say you? I think this is extra motivation. I think this is more bulletin board material for Baker and the boys.
Oh, it's getting really exciting. I mean, so far, you know, congratulations to Mr. Cody Mauch getting engaged with his lady. Very happy for him. He looks like he's in great shape. Can't wait to see year 2 out of him. And then Leonard Fournette, you know, giving the Bucs a little shout out, going undefeated. He was on the Rich Eisen show, I believe. He called in. and gave a pretty phenomenal prediction.
And we're going to get into those, J-Lo, but specifically the Bucs being snubbed off ESPN top 10 list. How's your feeling on that? So far, they came out with 2 lists. Running back had no Rashad White in the top 10 or honorable mentions. And then interior D lineman did not have Vita Vea in the top 10 as well. And as Bud says, 2 words for him. I think we know those 2 words, my friend.
I mean, let's be honest. Real Bucs fans know that ESPN doesn't love us; they hate us. No matter how good, how many mountains we climb to get to the top, we always get that disrespect. And that's the way I like it. Let's just be the underdog. Let them doubt us. That's nothing new. I've seen big things coming out with Rashad White. I mean, this kid's incredible. I mean, he's just been more motivated and more improved, in my opinion. But as far as ESPN goes, they can go, beso de culo, as I say in Spanish, because they have no idea they have no idea. And that's why I don't watch ESPN. I don't care for ESPN. I don't care for NFL Network. I watch the pods, man, because the real ones know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to realize who you're listening to. You got to realize what you're reading up on. ESPN usually isn't too credible for that kind of stuff, specifically with Bucs. So I'm not going to lean too much into Bucs being snubbed. We're used to that by now, as Bud says 2 words for him. So, Vita Vea is definitely a top 10 interior D lineman in football, though. That's for sure, especially with him losing weight this year. He's only going to get better and improve as we are live here on the Buccateers. Thanks for joining so far, everybody, as always. And I think Rashad White makes his way into the top 10 running backs this year. Speaking of Bucs running backs, J-Lo, you started to get into it a little bit. Lenny F making a return. Alleged that he is in the best shape. Emily in the house. Let's go. Emily says, hi, everyone. Tampa Tones, J-Lo, Bud, and Cleve. And we're hoping to get Gene on as well, Emily. So that'll be fun. A 1-2 boxing match as always. But hope all is well, Emily. Hope you had a great 4th of July. The regulars are out to play between Bud, Emily, Tommy Brown, Cleve, and me. We got a great gang here thus far. But J-Lo, thoughts on Leonard Fournette potentially coming back? He played a little bit last year with the Bills. Didn't really look himself. Kind of out of shape the past handful of seasons. But according to our guy, JCL, and with Sports Illustrated, and according to Leonard Fournette's newly rehired agents, football Lenny, Lombardi Lenny, he's in some of the best shape of his life, J-Lo, and ready to roll.
Should we say comeback Lenny? Are we going to get a comeback Lenny this coming season? Because for the most part, he's not been playing much, but I think he can get back out there if he gets on the right team at the right opportunity. Because, injuries happen at training camp, preseason games. It wouldn't shock me at all if Leonard Fournette finds an NFL team very soon, just because of his experience and what he brings to the locker room. He's such a jokester. I mean, you got to love his personality, in my opinion. And best of luck to him. I hope, he finds the team he's looking for.
I think Baltimore would be perfect. I think you put him with Derrick Henry, you put him with Lamar Jackson, you put him with a couple of their other younger depth backs, a team that leans on running the football a little bit, J-Lo. Thoughts on fit in Baltimore?
No, because then we have to play against him. I don't want to play against him.
Well, me neither, but would that not be a nasty fit for Lenny F?
Oh, it would be gross. It would be really gross. him and Derrick Henry, I just hate to play against him, because And
let's be honest, he might not make a roster at this point, as Emily gives a thumbs down to Gene. Bud says Rashad will prosper behind the improved O-line. And Bud, I want to get to this as well. We're going to come right back to Bud's point here about the improved O-line. Cleve and me says Lenny to be smart to sign somewhere like week 10 of regular season, not now in my eyes. See, the reason why I disagree with that only is because he did that with Buffalo last year. I know different circumstances. I know he was in different shape a little bit, but he tried to play the midseason hero ball with Buffalo last year, and it didn't really work out as well. I think for a veteran like Lenny F, it would do him a lot of good to acclimate in a new beginning in preseason, get into training camp, get into the groove, kind of be that LaShawn McCoy to the Bucs. The year the Bucs won the Super Bowl, J-Lo, when LaShawn McCoy was not our backup running back, but he was our third running back. And, he proved to be that veteran presence and shoulder to lean on. I think that's the type of role Lenny F should be and should look for. That third running back role in a key locker room and be a voice of figure and, be there the whole way, the whole duration of the regular season, sort of a hybrid of a third string running back and a running backs coach with Super Bowl experience, J-Lo, just like when LaShawn McCoy came here.
And that's the way I see it. I could see definitely a LaShawn McCoy route to where he'll get picked up by one of these power teams that can use his leadership, and he can be that number 2 or even number 3 back. I mean, he's still, to me, in pretty good shape to where he can help carry the load and be that good running back too. I mean, he's not going to be an all-pro running back, but at least he can step in there and help carry the load and, like you said, help a Derrick Henry out, who's not getting any younger. I mean, yeah, he's in Baltimore, but at the same time, these running backs aren't getting any younger. They can use an experienced back. So, I think he'll find a team before the season starts and hopefully gets to stay on there and just help, contribute and help them win football games.
And I don't discredit Cleveland's thought because I do think that's a right thought process. But given that it backfired for Lenny last year, I do think he has to go a different route. And this is kind of his last chance. Maybe by the time week 10 comes, Lenny F can't find a home. Nobody would want to hire him at that given time. You don't know. The NFL's a quick-moving game, J-Lo. And he might be an afterthought by then. Undrafted free agents come on like gangbusters and take roster spots up sometimes. So you never really know. But to me, if you could get a job now, go attack that job. Go try and win that job. Not the starting running back role. Hell, maybe not even the backup running back role. But Lenny F definitely has it in him to be at least a minimum RB3 in this league, J-Lo. And we saw that bits and pieces last year. And, he started fading a couple years back. But, damn it, he's a Super Bowl experienced veteran who's played with the likes of Tom Brady. And he brings a lot of good to the running back room still, in my opinion. Was a beast at college with LSU. Jacksonville had some good years. Tampa had some good years. Last year in Buffalo, at least got to play with the likes of Josh Allen and learn some of those offensive plays and schematic plays that the Bills run. So very interested to see where Lenny F goes. I do think he'll go to a contender. I don't think it would do him much well to go to a place, let's say, like a New England or like a Oakland or, Vegas. Damn it! You sports teams changing your names every damn 5 months gets really old. So Vegas, Oakland, whatever the hell you call them. But regardless, I think Lenny F should go to a winner, J-Lo.
Couldn't agree more. He'll get his opportunity. There are some, good teams out there that can use his experience. Going to the Raiders, they're just a big question mark. He might have a chance to, get playing time because of their running back room. But if I were him, I would go to a team like Baltimore, maybe Detroit. Detroit can maybe use a third back in there to kind of help that running back room. Because, like I said, injuries happen. You never know. And all of a sudden you get your chance on the field and show out like he did in 2020 in the playoffs.
And Cleveland brings up a very good team. Then we'll get back to Bud's point here quick. But listen to this. The Chiefs. And some people might say, oh, the Chiefs, not their type of move. Think again. Think again, because the Chiefs are notably known, that's a fun one, but they're known around the league to be the type to sign a veteran running back to help them get over the hump and to help them try and win playoff football games. And perfect example for that is the following. You look back in time. Kansas City had LaShawn McCoy when they won the Super Bowl. He barely played for them, and that was the year before he came to the Bucs. But they brought in LaShawn McCoy to shore up that running back room. Past couple of Super Bowls, who do they lean on? Veteran running back Jerick McKinnon, who's now nowhere to be found. So what will they do? What should they do? You look at their running back room. Isaiah Pacheco, he's a young gun. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's been a bust, and he's only on year 4 or 5 now, so still not, quote-unquote, one of these high-end veterans. Then you got Deneric Prince and Keontae Ingram. Ingram spent a couple of years in Arizona and flopped like a wet poodle out of the pool. Chargers are a good one, but I do like Kansas City. Chargers, though, could use him as well as they lost Eckler. But listen to the teams we're naming. Listen to the teams. Baltimore, San Diego, or Los Angeles, whatever the hell you call them. Kansas City. Leonard Fournette's in good shape. probably in really good shape. Kind of funny when you look at the Chargers. Harbaugh brought the Harbets with him. And, I'm making up words now, but you look at the Chargers and it's like one Harbaugh brother phone to the other Harbaugh brother. Who should we bring in? Look at the Chargers running back room, J-Lo. You got Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins leading the way there. Then you got Isaiah Spiller, C.J. Spiller's younger brother, never panned out, and Kamani Vidal. But isn't that kind of funny, J-Lo? Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins leading the Chargers running back room, who both used to play for the other brother Harbaugh in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, very strong coincidence, but also a good opportunity for them because Jim Harbaugh, to me, I think he's a great offensive-minded coach who's going to utilize them both. And let's not forget, J.K. Dobbins could be a big contributor if he stays healthy. And Gus Edwards, he's had some pretty good success over in Baltimore. So I'm looking forward to see that, see how they do with the brother, bouncing from one Harbaugh to the other.
Yeah, it's like, you guys couldn't stay healthy for one Harbaugh. Maybe you guys will for another Harbaugh and all that sorts of fun stuff. But regardless, neither here nor there, I do think it's interesting where Lenny F lands. And I do think there's a great abundance of landing spots for the big guy, former Super Bowl champion, who was playing behind a good O-line in his heyday. Speaking of O-line, Bud brought up a good point, and I wanted to bring this back up. Rashad White will prosper behind the improved O-line, which leads me to this debate, J-Lo, this discussion. And if you guys are tuned into the Buccateers, we love you. We appreciate you. Many hugs from all the Buccateers here beyond J-Lo and I, Cats, Bucko, etc., the rest of the gang. Please hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. That helps us out greatly if you do like and subscribe. And please think about turning that notification bell on. So anytime Tampa Tones, J-Lo, Gene from Buck What You Heard, or any of the other goons go live, you guys will not miss a second of it. But J-Lo, bringing back up Bud's point, I posted a tweet the other day. And I was in my basement with Pops. Shout out to Pops, big Bucs fan as well. Pops and I were catching up on a couple things, and we had 2023 Bucs highlights on in the background. And it didn't become a background figure for far too long. Because on Sunday, all we had on was the likes of baseball and the Chicago Street Race and NXT Heatwave. NXT Heatwave was phenomenal. Chicago NASCAR Street Race got rained out a bunch. So we need a bulletin board material to watch on Sunday. We dug up the 2023 Buccaneer highlight film, and Baker Mayfield was a menace in the pocket. Play after play, maneuver after maneuver, move after move, Baker Mayfield was escaping pressures. He was not only extending plays, but he was creating plays. Hence, yeah, we lost against Atlanta in the October game in the late bout, I believe October 23rd last year to be exact. Yes, we went down that game, but Baker Mayfield did everything he could to keep the team in the game, including about a 50 or 60-yard scamper late in the fourth quarter with about 2.5 minutes left under pressure to supply the Bucs a field goal to tie the game. And, we should have went into overtime, but Devin White lapse happened. Next thing you know, Bucs lose in regulation. Baker Mayfield, time and time again last year, and this is where I'm relating Bud's point. Some of you are like, well, Bud said Rashad White, you're talking Baker. Yes, dummies, I'm getting there. Just kidding, no one's dumb. But we're getting there. Where it becomes relative, Bud's point to mine. He says Rashad White will prosper behind the improved O-line, as will Baker Mayfield. Mayfield had a Pro Bowl season last year. Hell, Mayfield had a playoff win last year, and it was behind an offensive line that was average, but listen to the circumstances last year. And then say if you agree or not. You had Tristan Wirfs, one of the best O-linemen in football, suddenly go from the right side to the left side. Which some people who just play mad and say, oh, that should be easy. A tackle's a tackle. No, the hell it's not. You're going from the right tackle spot to the left tackle spot, which is the hardest position in all of football to play and the most important outside the quarterback. You're protecting the blind side. So he had a year one left tackle in terms of experience. Left guard, revolving door much. Who was it? Aaron Stinney down the year. We had other veteran lineman, Matt Filer, in there to begin the year. Neither one of those guys are on the Bucs now. Neither one of them return to the Bucs. So surely our left tackle should be better this year because it's worse second year over there, and a pro's pro like worse. Sure as hell ain't going to get worse. Christopher Cole says, evening, fellas. Evening, Chris. How the hell you doing? Hope you had a good fourth. So left tackle should improve. Left guard should improve, and we'll get into the left guard camp battle here in a minute, but you got three very viable options there. Center will improve because you had Notre Dame, Golden Domer, very good backup / not an awful starter, Robert Hainsey, Big Bob Hainsey, fill in for center last year, filled in. Because Ryan Jensen, as we all know, sadly missed the season last year, forced him to retire. Robert Hainsey got called in last minute. Now we have Graham Barton. Graham Barton was our first-round pick this season. So that should improve center as well. Right guard should be an improvement because Cody Mauch, who played every single snap last year and I thought was pretty damn good, will only get better in year number 2 with all that experience, with all that playing time, and all sorts of notions. And then right tackle, Luke Odecki had a hell of a year last year. I don't see him getting worse. But J-Lo, not only should Rashad White prosper behind this offensive line, I think Baker Mayfield should increase his play behind this offensive line as well.
Absolutely. I mean, he should be able to stay more upright and not have to run for his life at times. And plus, he was battling little injuries here and there. So if you think about it, you improve your line, you keep Mayfield off his back and protect him, the man's going to produce. And when he's cocky, when he's on point with his passes, man, he'll pick apart defenses. So I'm really happy with the offensive line and what they have done to help improve it. And I'm looking forward to see how more progressed Baker is going to be this year.
As Bud says, the gummies kicked in, so that's always a good thing when the gummies do kick in. So shout out to Bud for having his gummies kick in. As in a matter of moments, we will be joined by the great Gene from Buck What You Heard, as well as promised, is guaranteed. Emily, don't be disappointed. Gene is here. So yeah, Gene, she already checked in. But Gene, if you're ready to roll, how the hell you doing? Glad you could join us, my man.
Doing good, man. I've got this buzzing in my headphone. I'm trying to figure out what it is, so I'm trying to adjust my sounds.
Yeah, take your time. Hope you had a good holiday and all that.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I'm glad to be on, guys. Talking football and just, getting back with the fellas, man. I've been looking forward to this, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
And I did let the people know earlier as well. This is a little unusual start time for us. Usually we'll be 6:20, 6:30, if not a little later range Eastern time. But today, due to prior obligations and conflicts, had to bump it up a little bit. But nonetheless, we are joined by Gene, J-Lo, and myself here. As Cleveland Me says, big year for Baker, and I'm one of the biggest fans. So if he does well this year, boy, oh boy, does Cleveland feel stupid, if not already like they should. That's a good point as well. They're paying Deshaun Watson a lot of money to miss a lot of football games and to not play up to his payday, as BB King joins us as well. But J-Lo, we'll go with you to this comment. Thoughts on Baker? I think this is a big year for him as well.
Agreed. I think we're going to see a more productive Baker to where, he'll play pretty much healthy instead of playing injured. Because when he was injured last year, he looked horrible. I think we can all agree to that. Fortunately, injuries happen. And to me, when you got an injured Baker Mayfield, he just doesn't play the same. But I don't see that happening this year. I like what he has built in that locker room. Pretty much became besties with Tristan Wirfs, building just a great relationship with a lot of these players and getting Mike Evans, help recruiting him back. So, I'm very thankful that we were able to bring the guys back to help Baker, for the most part. But I can see Baker definitely being top 10, definitely in the quarterback ranking this year. That's how confident I am in Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and BB King, one of our regulars, joining as well. How we doing, BB King? Always glad to have you in the house, as Mauch is ready to show out this season, bulked up the offseason with 12 pounds of muscle. I think I bulked up this offseason with 12 pounds of beer, getting used to that. Speaking of beer, Gene, we are coming down to the wire here on our tournament for the beer draft, and I think we're going to end up doing that bracket style. And do I have this right? We're going to eliminate beers that one of us can't find in our local area, correct?
Either that or ones we agree on that we side with. If it's not available in somebody's area, because we want a beer that everybody can get, that's going to be the big part of it. But I kind of wanted to go back to Baker Mayfield, and I did want to say, I think the biggest loser in all this were the Carolina Panthers. I know you could say what you want to about Cleveland. Cleveland is Cleveland. They are just not good with quarterbacks. Whereas you had Sam Darnold, you had Baker Mayfield. I mean, you went through like several different quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield did not get a chance to get his feet wet, to prove what he can do. You had incompetent coaching, incompetent ownership, incompetent general managers. Just they fumbled the bag on this one, I believe. And to the Bucs' benefit, because fortunately he went to the Rams. He finished up with the Rams because they had Stafford, and then the Bucs were able to land him. So everything went according to plan.
Yeah, Gene, you're right on that. Went according to plan for the Panthers. Maybe they're going to be known as the quarterback screw-ups now, because we saw them with Baker, we saw them with a couple other guys there in the past couple of years. Now we see Bryce Young off to a little bit of a slow start. That's funny. Bud says the buzz is we going undefeated. Gene had a buzz in his ear. He says, "Oh, that's us going undefeated." Bud, you're funny, man. You're a good one. Cleve and me says, so I asked you all early in the summer if you would rather play Panthers at home first for easier game or Lions get going strong. You all said Lions, and they are week 2, but Washington week 1. I think Washington's a good week 1. Tune me up for multiple reasons. Then we'll get Gene and J-Lo's opinion as we are nearing training camp, preseason, on all that stuff. I think Washington's a step up from the Panthers because Jaden Daniels, you have the hype behind him. You don't know how rookie QBs come to play. He could come out and set the world on fire, or he could come out and struggle. You really don't know. You have a new coach over in Washington. You got Dan Quinn leading the Commandos. You have a lot of revamped offensive people, including the likes of the tight end position and the running back position. They got Austin Eckler. They got Zach Ertz. They got a couple key defenders. So Washington's this revamped ball club. I think they're going to bring in a little punch, a little fight week 1 with a lot to prove as Dan Quinn, right, wrong, or indifferent. He thinks he probably got cheated out of previous coaching spots in Atlanta and so forth. So, Gene, what are your thoughts on Washington week 1?
I love Washington. I'm really curious to see what they do. I don't expect anything right out of the gate, but I think if they can gel, I think they can make some noise in their division. I know a lot of people are, right off the bat, I'm biased against Dallas. So anybody that could beat Dallas, I'm happy with. But I really feel like, the moves that they've made, if everything kind of falls into place, they have a really competitive team, and I think they could really do some things.
I agree with that, and I think Washington could compete this year as well, as Emily's calling out Gene for saying check your Twitter.
Yeah. This is going to happen. I think this will happen, Emily. So I'll talk it over with the fellas and share it with everybody next week.
Yeah, so can't wait to hear that. Good stuff there from one of our gals, Emily. And, something else to bring up. Chris Cole and Bud both pointed out. Bud said, hey, it's been hard to find Marpet's replacement. Chris said, hey, we should have better backup O-linemen this year. I think we will have better backup O-linemen, and I think that's going to lead to a key camp battle for that left guard spot. You have a lot kind of thrown up in the air right now. J-Lo, you have the guy from the Giants, Mr. Bredesen, Ben Bredesen stepping up. You have the guy from the Eagles who will compete in there. You have a rookie in round 5 or 6. You have Robert Hainsey who might slide over. You have a lot of competition, perhaps, J-Lo, for that left guard spot, and I think that should help strengthen this offensive line. Do you think it might be Sua Opeta? Do you think it might be Ben Bredesen, J-Lo? Who do you see winning that camp battle?
I think you can't go wrong with either one. They both have starting experience. I think they're both much of an upgrade to what we had last year on the left guard position. Either way, I'd be happy with either one. I think they're both pretty much even right now in the race for the left guard position. So I'm looking forward to seeing in training camp who wins that battle. And like I said, I think we're probably fully depth on our old line, probably the most we've been in a long time. That's one positive thing. Like you said, Bob Hainsey, even though Rambarn is pretty much going to be the starter, but you got Bob Hainsey in the back, who's had experience. So shout out, to Jason Light for totally getting this season prepared, being fully depth at the offensive line. But if I had to pick one, I say give me Bredesen. I really like that kid. I like what he did in New York. I think him at left guard would be really good, much better than last year's for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the play will get worse. That's for sure. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see how it rolls out here in the 813 at that left guard spot. As we got Mr. Everything Bucks in the house. What up, everyone? What up, Mr. Everything Bucks? Hope you're doing well. Donnie in the house. What's up, bro? I seen our boy Love. That's awesome. How we doing, Donnie? Great to have you back. BB King, we're good as long as it's not Taylor Heineke starting. Remember him in that playoff game? That was some dangerous stuff with Taylor Heineke getting the nod, doing the most there, J-Lo.
Shoot, I remember in the 21 season when he beat us when we went over there, on the road. That dude just put us to shame, man. I'm glad we're not playing that guy no more. We just like making backups look really good at quarterback, like all pros.
Yeah, I agree. And that was during our rough stretch where that happened. That was during our rough stretch when things happened here and there. And next thing you know, backup quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks were taking advantage of us greatly. And it wasn't a fun time. As Giovanni says, Bucs fans, I'm so pumped up about this season. I'm freaking pumped as well. And Giovanni, if you missed it, join us all season on Buck What You Heard or the Buccateers, because we're going to be having our official beer of the 2024 season with training camp approaching, with the Hall of Fame game approaching. It's only right to narrow our beers down. So be on the lookout for the official bracket. We should be able to get it going here.
Next show, probably. I'd say next show. What do you think?
Yeah, I think next show. And that'll be fantastic. I can't wait, man. I know we had a lot of good beers recommended as well. So it's going to be tough to choose.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be easy, that's for sure.
You guys were talking about the offensive line, and I wanted to kind of chime in on that. Everybody that's here has a lot of experience now, with the exception of the rookies. And I feel like you've got enough of a foundation to where you could have a good rotation of offensive linemen. And that's what you want. And a lot of these guys that probably shouldn't have been playing last year have gotten quality snaps. This is only going to help them this year. And, I really believe that was the offensive line ended up being a strength last year, as opposed, when everybody just looked down on them and said, we're screwed. You lose Ryan Jensen. And then, you've lost Ali Marpet. You've lost some really huge stalwarts that are on that offensive line. You've lost them. And now here you have these guys coming in. And if they could play together as a unit, keep Baker upright, man, you've got the recipe for something really great. I'm looking at the running backs and just the confidence that I see in Rashad White. Rashad White acts like he belongs in Tampa. Just if you follow him on any social media, like I'm on Twitter, and just listening to him, listening to what he's saying, you don't hear a guy that lacks confidence. You hear a guy that, I'm ready to get out there and show you guys what I can do next. This is the next act in my show. And again, just silencing all the critics from last year that complained about drafting him, complained that he was there, and, continuing to prove that he belongs in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree there completely. He definitely does belong in the NFL, and I think that'll be more and more noticeable to the media. We all know that. The Bucs fans know that. Us podcasters know that. But some of your average fans don't. As we do have Donnie Pepin tuned in on Facebook. I'm tuned in October 22nd, he says. I'm guessing maybe he's going to that game. So cool stuff there. I got to find out why, but it's always something. Now our Facebook comments aren't coming through. So I'll see what's going on over there. But we do have some regulars in the house on Facebook between our guy Pep and Steppen, our favorite Canadian, chiming in. We got El Monito. We got the Godfather, James Rubright. We got Tampa's finest in real estate, David Ferrara. So we appreciate our Facebook peeps. Once again, I'll try and figure out what the hell's going on with the chat and why I can't get the Facebook comments to at least appear over here for now. Once in a blue moon, that does happen. As Richard's in the house saying, hello, Bucks peeps. Hello, Richard. Our guy, Neil. What it do? What the hell it do, Neil? Long time no talk. And as you always say, hit the subscribe button and all that good stuff. So we'll be waiting for you there. Corey in the house says Rashad White just did an interview on the Rich Eisen show. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he's going everywhere. And in fact, tomorrow he'll be in studio with Jay and Z on WDAE. Rashad White will be in studio with Jay Retcher and Zach Blobner tomorrow. So, yeah. Gene, Rashad White's kind of one of those guys who's taken Tampa by storm. He appears here. He appears there. He does this for the community. He does that. Rashad White is a pro's pro, not only on the field, but in the 813 off the field as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was just 10 yards off of 1,000 last year, and that's criminal to me. That was criminal, and I equate that to some of the plays that were dialed up. And again, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but just kind of what I saw, there were opportunities to get those few yards. I think he ended up with 1,500 plus all-purpose yards. Just kind of going off the top of my head, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And again, he was a viable weapon. And you talk about speed and space. Once this guy can get the ball and he can make moves against defenders. If you're a defensive lineman, you're in trouble trying to run him down. If you're a linebacker, you just got to make sure you got your feet under you trying to tackle him. I mean, he is definitely a weapon the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be utilizing a whole lot.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that. And another thing, Gene, not only did his play calling hold him back a little bit, and again, not knocking Dave Canales, but I think
I will. I mean, he's a rookie offensive coordinator, and again, he was stubborn. He didn't want to. There were times he didn't want to make adjustments that he probably should have made. But again, that's water under the bridge. I think the Bucs know what they have as far as talent goes with the running back position. You haven't really heard a lot of people questioning or having concerns about the running back room this offseason. So it's always a plus, going into the season.
Agreed. And remember a couple times last year as well, Rashad White did the unselfish thing and kneeled the ball a little bit early when he was on some breakaway runs late in the fourth quarter. I remember 2 or 3 games off the top of my head where Rashad White could have easily gotten 10 more yards, but barreled down, pissed some fantasy managers off, but buzz off fantasy managers. We want wins around here in real football, not in the world of fantasy, or maybe both. But we got some funny Facebook comments from our guy Bud, says Zuckerberg at it again. Cleveland Me says that Facebook is still drunk from the 4th of July. Gene, how was your 4th? Did you have a good 4th, my man?
Oh, had a great 4th of July, man. It was a lot of fun. I just did some ribs, the real basics. And it was a great day. I kind of wish I had taken the next day off. It would have been a lot more fun, but I had fun. It's always nice having the time off, and being around the people that you truly appreciate is important as well. And, I can't stress that enough. If there's somebody out there that you're close to, let them know you're close to them, and I think it's important.
That's very important. I couldn't agree more, Gene. If there's people out there and, this is life. And the older we get, it seems like the more craziest shit starts happening. I shouldn't say the older we get, but the older the world gets, I should say. Nowadays, for better, for worse, crazy stuff happens all the damn time. And before it's one of those for worse scenarios, make sure you tell people you love them and send your appreciation their way. That's great, though. You got to spend the holiday with loved ones. And, Gene, I love that Caitlin Clark shirt. My Lord, That's incredible.
Oh, you already know, man. I mean, you got to support. You got to support them. So, I mean, just getting to watch her play has just been incredible. I mean, watching her in college was exciting, and just getting to see her, coming to the next level here in WNBA has been a lot of fun to watch. I ended up scrounging up a ticket for the Friday night All-Star game, so that should be really interesting to hopefully I get to see her play at that point. So I'm looking forward to that.
Is that in your neck of the woods, Gene? Is that by you?
That's downtown Phoenix. Yeah.
Holy crap! That's right. That's going to be awesome. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese right in your backyard.
Yep.
And talk about growing a sport. Then we'll get J-Lo's thoughts here. Quick tangent, WNBA quick, but talking about growing a sport tremendously in a couple years' time, thanks to Caitlin Clark mainly, but a lot of these other gals are chipping in now as well. So kudos to the WNBA for getting a platform and actually capitalizing on it, capitalizing on the next big thing, for better or for worse, whether it's for good purpose or bad purpose. You're always hearing about the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, other rookies now as well, Angel Reese, Camilla Cardosa, and those types as well. You heard a lot about, drawing my Cameron Brink, the tall gal. She's out for the year now.
Yeah, that was sad. That was really sad from the Sparks. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never known all these WNBA players in my life. This is awesome. It's awesome. These are a lot. The majority of the people you mentioned are rookies. So this is their first year. They're coming in, and they're definitely making a difference. It makes the game fun. I mean, I've been to other games, and this is no knock on them, but this is just a lot more entertaining. I mean, you have somebody that can that can just drop passes like I've never seen. In the WNBA, I've never seen anybody pass like she does, and just those from the logo shots that she's making on a regular basis. It's just been fun. So, I've gotten to watch a few Angel Reese games and see how she's doing, and here she is, with all the double doubles, breaking records their rookie season. So, a lot to look forward to. Yeah, a lot to look forward to. And as J-Lo's kind of sitting there, not tapping in like a WWE or AEW match, J-Lo, I want to get your thoughts. WNBA, and here, J-Lo, more interestingly, I'm going to open up the floor to you like this. Obviously, Tampa has no men's basketball team. Would you appreciate to see a WNBA team make their way to the Tampa area one day, J-Lo?
I wouldn't say no to it. I mean, I feel Tampa is a great area. I think they already proven that they can win in pretty much any sport if they choose to. I'll be all for it. Shout out. I'm not too big on the NBA or the WNBA, for the most part. But, good for Caitlin Clark, what she's doing. But as far as
you did say you're getting back into the Magic this year.
Yeah, I'm working my way back to the Magic band.
Or you're already done. I mean.
No. No, I mean, no, I root for the Magic. I was a big fan of this back in the day when they were better. Back in my, the late 2000s, like 2009, Dwight Howard days. But for the most part, I wouldn't mind having a WNBA team in Tampa. I think it's a favorable spot. But right now, I think, they're focused on is getting the Rays over here from St. Pete. I think that's their main goal right now.
Yeah, and I think so as well. And we are here in the Buccateers talking all things sports tonight, WNBA, other adventures as well. And that's why I love Gene and J-Lo and the rest of our Buccateers and Buck What You Heard podcast peeps as well, because we can talk about anything, literally talk about anything. And we're also going to come up, well, more so Gene and J-Lo and maybe some other peeps on here as well. But I think somehow, some way, we're going to come up with the Buccateers and Buck What You Heard cookbook for the 24 season as well. So Gene and J-Lo, I don't know exactly how yet, but maybe like every game day when something's cooked, we'll document that. We'll put it in a little book or something. And at the year end, we could look back and see everything that the Buccateers and Buck What You Heard podcast have whipped up on game days.
Yep. Let's make it happen. I'm all in.
What better than beer and food, right? We're going to get...
you can't go wrong with it.
And football, right? Don't forget football. But
well, I mean, let's be honest here, though. Trying not to cut you off. I mean, the thing about food is, it doesn't judge and it fulfills our needs, when we're feeling down whenever we lose a football game.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's so true on the food part. When you lose a football game and you're down, I'm lucky. So, Olivia, if you're listening, appreciate you. You cope well with my losses for the Bucs. But Some guys don't have that. Some gals don't have that coping mechanism. And what do we got as gals and guys? We got food always having our back. And
Yep, it's always going to be there.
A nice warm rack of ribs. I'm drooling right now. Crispy chicken wraps. All the food in the world, just awesome. BB King. Men have outgrown NBA rules. Athletically raised baskets 6 inches. I think that's something you probably try in the preseason or the summer league or something. And, that would take a while to adjust to, I feel like, though. It might seem like a little change, but 6 inches, I don't think they should rule it out. But I do think it's one of those things that may be hard to adjust to. Hey, the Cubs took the lead on the Orioles on a Michael Busch solo home run, 1-0. Cleve and me getting hungry. Hope your grill works. I know your air wasn't now that it's back, but no, I'm kidding, Joe. Steph Curry owns the ball. Yeah, he does. But from basketball to football, I do want to talk some more football here, as we don't have all the time in the world, but we do have a good chunk of time left here in the Buccateers. I do want to talk about something bright and something on the way up and something very happy in the Bucs world. Cody Mauch did just get engaged. It looks like the Bucs offensive lineman, Mr. Mauch, bent the knee and asked the big question of marriage, and it looks like it was fulfilled. So, congrats to offensive lineman Cody Mauch on getting engaged and popping the question. Gene, it always makes me happy to see Bucs players living their best life off the field. Obviously, we know all these men for their on-the-field performances. We know them in their uniforms, but sometimes the translation gets lost for Bucs fans, podcasters, etc. These people are human with real-life elements that go into their humanness, and really, to see Cody Mauch so happy taking the next step in his life, I think that could almost increase his play on the field as well. You happy wife, happy life, right?
I've noticed that players that like Mike Evans getting married. I remember when Jameis Winston was here, he got married, and it tends to make you more. You have to become more mature as a new parent or as a newlywed, and you're forced to make better decisions. And I think that's good for the sport. That's good for the team. I'd say it shows maturity that you're willing to commit to somebody long term, and that's what you're doing. So I'm excited about it. And just on the flip side of that, I want to thoughts and prayers to Kyrie Jackson, the player that was killed by a drunk driver. And again, to me, and I know I sound like an old man here, but nothing good happens after midnight. It should be something that it's just I am leery about being out super late at night anymore. But it's just a shame. He wasn't doing anything wrong, and this ended up happening to him. So again, just and was he going to practice, or was he coming home from somewhere? I still am unsure about that, but that was pretty late when that happened. If you know in the chat, hit me up in the chat if you have a little bit more details. But again, I know that it was an incident that occurred late night, and nothing he did. It just happened to be the person that was on the other side of the wheel was under the influence. And again, I know I make this joke, don't be stupid, don't drink and drive, but I genuinely mean that when I say it. It's something that, there are Ubers out there, there's Lyft. If you have a certain amount of money, you can get drivers to drive you to wherever you need to go. There's no reason for a lot of this stuff. And, that not just players, I'm talking about everybody.
And
I mean, theoretically, there's no reason to be behind the wheel under the influence.
None. What's the benefit? You save 10 or 20 bucks. Is that worth it? No. Hell no. Absolutely not. And, not meaning to preach here, but I agree with everything Gene said. I mean, it's ridiculous for any human, not just athletes, but any human. If you don't want to drive, then stay home. Nothing wrong with picking up a 6-pack, going home and enjoying yourself. That's what getting belligerent at your house is beneficial for. So you don't have to drive
and
anywhere.
ride sharing, as a last resort is also an option.
Yeah, that very much so as well. And in that same accident with Kyrie Jackson, man, just a 4th-round pick this year on the Vikings, doesn't even get to play an NFL game, just heartbreaking. Also in the car was A.J. Litton, former Penn State linebacker as well, which was awful. And then another former college player as well passed away, all in the same related incident. So very sad stuff there. Took the life of 3 young athletes. And, we don't get those athletes back. We don't. And we don't get their families don't get them back. Their families don't get them at the Thanksgiving dinner table. They don't get them at the New Year's Eve celebration. So just keep in mind, anytime you do get behind the wheel with a couple drinks in your system, you could really make a bad impact. J-Lo, thoughts quickly on the tragedy that we did suffer, and thoughts on the Cody Mauch engagement. So, sucks, but that's part of life. You get sad news, you get some good news as well.
Absolutely. Prayers out to those 3 young men that lost their lives. That's never a very happy time when, as young as they are, especially with Kyrie Jackson. I was pretty big on him in the draft during the process, but unfortunately he's gone. But my prayers go out to his loved ones that are affected by it today. And as far as Cody Mauch, congratulations to him. I feel like he's going to show a lot of improvement at his position at right guard. Can't wait to see what he brings to the table. And like I said, and also, it's been a happy year full of babies being born. Kate Otten just had his baby, that too, recently as well. I want to throw that out there as well. Congratulations to Kate Otten as well.
Yeah, Kate Otten, he's having a kid. So, just like I said, life as it goes on, you get some awesome events, you get some tragedies, and thoughts and prayers out to the 3 young men who lost their lives soon. But at the same time, congrats to Kate Otten and Cody Mauch, who do start new life adventures. Christopher Cole saying prayers for the family and friends. Congratulations to Mauch as well. Cody Mauch, one of my favorite players and very fun offensive lineman here on the Bucs. Speaking of O-linemen on the Bucs, Baker Mayfield, we did talk about him a little bit, and I wanted to get into this because, again, I was going through Twitter a couple days ago, and I made a tweet as I was going through Bucs highlights saying, wow, Baker Mayfield, menace in the pocket, looked very good last season a lot of the time, breaking out of tackles, creating plays with his legs, yada, yada, yada. And then I got pushback on it. Won't name the Twitter names, but they're saying Baker was trash. He wasn't that good. Funny how a below-average QB could fool so many Bucs fans. So, Gene, I want to start with you here. In your opinion, and we'll go out at 32 here. We'll just go starting QBs. On a scale of 1 to 32, Baker Mayfield is a top blank quarterback in the National Football League.
I'd put him at 10. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Bucs fan. I'm saying that because just watching him, Baker Mayfield can read defenses. And outside of Tom Brady, I want you to tell me another quarterback that has been able to come to this Bucs team and they can read offense or read defenses. Josh Freeman could not. Mike Glennon could not. Who else? I'm only going back to
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson. Could not.
Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, you're going way back, but yeah, if you want to, and we go back to, we could go back to the Super Bowl. We go back to Brad Johnson. Anything past Brad Johnson, up to Tom Brady, I would say Jeff Garcia might be the only quarterback that I could think of that could actually read defenses. And it struck me. I forgot which game. I think it was the Saints game, and I'm watching Baker Mayfield, and I'm watching him scan the field. He gets the snap and he's scanning the field, and he's seeing what's going on. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't realize this guy could read defenses. So I went back to all 22, watched a few games, and watched how he adjusted to certain defenses. And if there wasn't a trash offensive line there and he had something to work with, he could read defenses. So I mean, that's a lost art, and not every quarterback in NFL could do it. So I mean, there are some other guys that have the talent on their teams. And let's not even talk about Chris Sims. That guy is the bane of my existence. Oh my God, I hate that guy. But you know, you would swear Chris Sims won 2 Super Bowls, and he was the MVP like 6 times just listening to the way that clown talks. But enough about him and the organization he belongs to. They ain't gonna get I'm not breathing any life into that organization at all. But yeah, I'm gonna go 10, just being generous. But I really believe that we're going to see improvement out of Baker this year. I think he's got an offensive coordinator that will capitalize on his strengths a lot more than what we saw from the previous offensive coordinator. And I expect big things from him this year.
Couldn't agree more. And Bud agrees with you, says top 10. BB King says, I'm not going to say the quarterback's name as you just mentioned it, but he said top 15. J-Lo, are you with Gene, top 10? Are you with the jealous, evil ex-girlfriend of the Bucs saying top 15? Where does Baker Mayfield lay amongst your rankings? Top blank out of 32, Jada.
I'm at 10. I'm pretty much where Gene's at. You know, I think he's definitely at least top 10, ranked 10th, in my opinion, because there are some elite quarterbacks out there. Not that I'm saying Baker's not elite, but to me, I put him at 10.
Yeah, I would like Baker to be top 10, and I would put him right around there. I'd put him top 12, and I put him top 12 because to me, he's automatically in there for making the playoffs, and I know it's just not a quarterback reasoning on playoffs and on how far you go, but as Gene mentioned, some great points. We really haven't seen quarterbacks in Tampa take us to the playoffs, and not only take us there, win us a playoff game. Baker Mayfield's in the very minority of the Bucs franchise and the quarterback room specifically of guys who are not only able to take us to the playoffs, but win us a playoff football game. And oh, by the way, not only win us a playoff football game, but kick the snot out of a rival on a primetime spot like Monday Night Football. And, you know, it was about a pick 'em in that game. So the Bucs, if anything, to me, were pretty much underdogs because the Eagles are loved by the media. The Bucs are not. And for Baker to go in there and puff his chest out, yeah, I'm putting him top 12 all day, every day, any day of the week. And I put him 12 because 14 teams make the playoffs. Surely on his worst day, he's still better than a handful of those quarterbacks who made the playoffs last year. And on his best day, he's top 12, anywhere from, you know, I don't want to sound like too big of a homer here, but he could be from top 6 to 12 range on Baker's best days when Baker is playing his A game. And by the way, as we lose J-Lo here, he did have to bounce. He just let me know. Or did we lose him? No, he had a bounce for technical difficulties. But Gene and Tones here for a couple more minutes here on the Buccateers and Buck what you heard, as we do have some more to discuss. But by the way, Gene, we're not going to mention them, but Sims and his clown counterpart, and you tried to gut check me a week or two ago. I shared something from I forget Florio and Sims company, Pro Football Talk or whatever the hell they are. I tried to share something with them in Buccateers because to me they were trying to do a better job in buying in. And you're like, yeah, I don't listen to them. I'm like, hey, well, at least we're getting the benefit of the doubt from Florio finally. This weasel, this bastard tried to release a story this past weekend spewing nonsense about Bountygate and the Bucs and how John Abraham, you know, said Donald Penn said this, and Donald Penn came out and said none of that was true. None of it happened. So pretty much, Gene, here we are again with Florio trying to kick dirt on the Bucs yet again. Yeah,
he's a trash bag. I've got a T-shirt with him with the clown face on, and I wear it from time to time. Pro Football Talk is garbage, and I don't know how people listen to it. And if you're a Bucs fan, I implore you, as a Bucs fan, the only way that you can hurt an organization like that is not give them any traffic. I mean, I don't even click on the links. I mean, if somebody pulls up a story, I'll read what I can from it, but I'm not clicking on any links. I don't want to give them guys any traffic because they're horrible. And Mike Florio is a known Buck hater for years. I mean, going back to Raheem Morris years. I remember he started the rumor that the Bucs were moving to Los Angeles. And this was back in like 2009. 2008, 2009, he started that rumor. So, again, he's a Vikings fan, I get it. And, there's no sense of he can't be unbiased about anything. So, whatever, screw that guy.
I remember, and like you said, he had us move into LA. I think at one point he was one of the biggest guys saying that Bucs to London was pretty much a sure thing. He was saying at one point, he tried to drive us the hell out of here. And he was also a big enhancer of the Bruce Arians, Tom Brady, red pen story, all that bullshit, which I'll never believe. And I'll just.
Tom Brady was going to San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember.
Then he was going to Miami, but then I guess he was going to split time between Miami and San Francisco. He was going to go to both places, I guess. Yeah, the guy's a moron.
Oh, and Bud says he was right about the red pen, so maybe I didn't hear anything about that getting confirmed personally. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. I just find it hard to believe that they'd be that discombobulated and that Bruce would red pen him and stuff like that, but maybe it's different. But nonetheless, Florio gave way too much into that story regardless. And if anything, it's just coach and quarterback, talking things out a little bit more. So.
And that was the ultimate marriage. I just wish they would have divorced Byron Leftwich. I think that would have been fine. But I just love, I love their dynamic. They work together and they brought a Super Bowl to Tampa. I can't hate on them.
No, not at all. Both of those guys, beautiful people inside and out, especially on and off the field. Some people are rubbed the wrong way nowadays by Tom Brady, not quote unquote giving love to Tampa or talking about Tampa. But no offense, the guy played in New England for like 30 years. I'm over exaggerating a little bit. But of course, when he talks football, he's going to mainly talk about New England. Yeah, he'll bring up Tampa here. He'll bring up Tampa there. He had great times there. But at the end of the day, it's like if you had a job in your life for 25 years, then all of a sudden you retired somewhere for 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you had a good time there and you liked it, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, when you have grandkids and shit, you're going to be telling them about your job you had for 25 years.
And you know what's interesting about that? Yeah, he won a lot of Super Bowls. I think what solidified his legacy was coming from New England and Tampa. First year, Tampa goes to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they play at home. And they win at home.
Yeah.
And I think Brady needed this. As much as Tampa needed this, Brady needed this too. Because the year before he came to Tampa, everybody's like, oh, he's washed. He's trash. He can't do this. He can't do anything. But if you look at how they drafted, if you look at free agency with the New England Patriots when Tom Brady was getting beat up in New England the year before he came to Tampa, you can understand what was going on. And then once he got to Tampa, a whole nother story.
People forget that, Gene, you are 100% right. People forget that the media and the national NFL, or not the national, but the, casual NFL fan, nobody really wanted Brady. Everyone kind of wrote Brady off, and now since he won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, narratives change, and now all of a sudden he's still the GOAT, and everybody wanted him. San Fran wanted him. Miami wanted him. Oakland wanted him. All of a sudden, allegedly, right? Remember, even the Bears came out, the Colts came out,
the Raiders. I think wasn't the Raiders. The Raiders were on the dance card too.
Tennessee, all of a sudden, right? Like no other team was. I'll give the Chargers credit because it was the Chargers and the Bucs were the two big heavy teams rumored to land Brady. So the Chargers were kind of in the thick of it. But then all of a sudden, once Brady won with the Bucs, it was. Brady was wanted here. Brady was wanted there. Yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, Brady had some of the best games and some of the best years here. He was able to bring a great friend in Gronk here. He was able to bring Leonard Fournette in, LaShawn McCoy in, Antonio Brown in, so forth and so much. And
and the greatest 2-minute drill I've ever seen. I've never seen a quarterback, live at a game run a 2-minute drill like that in pro sports, period. And that was just to this day. I look back at some of the quarterbacks I've seen, and I cannot think of anybody that ran that 2-minute drill like Tom Brady.
Gene, we're just about 3 weeks away from the first football game of the year. I know it's preseason, but football is close. Football is near. Training camps less than 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks away. Preseason Hall of Fame game, Texans Bears, about 3 weeks away. How are you feeling at this point in the off season? And we're kind of near the end here in terms of actual quote unquote dryness to the off season. We're running on fumes. It's about to get hot and heavy in a hurry.
Man, I'm so excited. This is my least favorite time of the year, the off season. I hate the toxicity of social media. I hate the fact that everybody's got to be right instead of people, having a differing opinion and just going their own way. It's good that you have something solid that you could talk about. What's this camp battle looking like? What's the kicker looking like? What's the wide receiver room looking like? How are injuries? That kind of thing. So I'm excited. I cannot wait for it to get here. This has been a fun summer. This has actually been a fun off season, working with the Buccateers and, us doing our thing and, just the listeners contributing. There are times where I see something in the chat and I'm like, okay, let me go research that. I may not say anything, but I'll go research it. And I really believe that we have some of the best listeners out of I will say any other team. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I'm going to be biased and say that. And people like Bud Cannibalist, BB King, King Cook, just there's so many people that have come in and, contributed. Even Emily, when Emily's, in a good mood, she'll come in and she'll contribute something that's, helpful, or, how she looks at things. And, I appreciate that. And, people don't understand. You don't have to join in the chat. You can just sit here and listen. But, putting forth the effort to jump in the chat and put your opinion out there is greatly appreciated. And I hope we continue to see that, man. I'm looking forward to this season. There are really no unknowns for me outside of, who's going to start on that offensive line. But at the end of the day, man, these are good unknowns. Before, we didn't know how Baker was going to stack up, on this Buccaneers offense. We just, getting rid of Byron and, you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and there were so many unknowns last year. But based on what the coaching did, and I know you got to go. I'll wrap this up.
No, we're good.
Todd Bowles, and I apologize to Todd Bowles every chance I think about it. Todd Bowles has been a part of how many playoff games? How many playoff seasons are we at? 4?
Yep.
3 or 4. And Todd Bowles has been there. And he's the guy that's, kind of steadied everything. And, just what they were able to accomplish last year, even though they had the losing streak, they just kind of got off kilter, but they got back on track and they were able to claw their way into the playoffs. And again, I expect more from this team. They're more familiar with everybody's a little bit more familiar with each other. You've got all of your pillars on your defensive side, your offensive side. You brought back players like Russell Shepard. Special teams is really going to be an improvement over last year, and it's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and the Bucs are keening in. I think you hit the nail on the head, Gene. They're doing a great job of building from within, and this is going to be Todd Bowles' 5th year running it back in the play or trying to get to the playoffs, whether it's defensive coordinator or head coach for this Buccaneers team. And I think not only other intriguing, but besides the left guard spot, I'm looking forward to see how the cornerback room shakes out. Obviously, you got Jamel Dean up top, but man, Bucs have some good young talent there between Josh Hayes and Zion McCollums of the world. And then you bring in a couple free agents as well from the Texans and the Jets. So going to be very interesting to see how the cornerback room shakes out. And I don't think this Bucs team is going to be any worse than last year. If anything, I think they're only going to build on last year. They got younger. They brought in some good free agents, as you alluded to, Gene. They kept some of their own around, which is essential. And the Bucs seem to be getting better at that as time goes on as well. So very much so looking forward to the 2024-2025 NFL season. I think it's going to bring a lot of good to not only the Bucs on the field, but the 813 off the field. I think the tip of the iceberg for Coach Bowles, for Baker Mayfield, and for the rest of the team is only beginning. And I think we're only going to continue to march up towards, right where we were with Brady. Maybe never Lombardi hoist him, but I do think we get to a Super Bowl with Baker and Bowles one day, whether it's this year, next year, sometime soon. I do, as Emily says, thanks, Gene, for including me. I love chicken nuggets. Okay. All right. Man, it's getting that late already.
You know what? That's okay. I'll deal with you later, Emily.
Yeah, so, it is getting late, and we got the punches being pulled there and throw in here. But before we get to our final word, I will say this. We will be live. Not sure yet, but Monday the latest will be our next show. I'm aiming for either Saturday or Sunday morning, maybe Thursday night. You never know what the hell happens. But I promise you our next show latest will be Monday. And
just real quick, once we get to the season, what's the schedule going to look? I know you had mentioned that on the, one of the things, the topics. Once the season gets here, what can the fans expect, as we move forward?
I think we'll lock down Mondays. I think Mondays would be a nice day to that's given a Sunday game day, right? So, regardless, even if they play Monday night, Monday would be a good one. Maybe just bump it up a little bit. But I think we could pencil in Mondays for the football season. And I think we'll probably pencil in either Saturday or Sundays as well. When we get together, we'll discuss when we want to do our pregame. And all that stuff. And then, maybe definitely Monday and then Saturday or Sunday, then maybe a floating day here or there, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if we get a guest, maybe a JC Allen to preview the upcoming week and stuff like that. So definitely Monday, lock it in. And then Saturday or Sunday morning, I'll talk with the guys and see when they'd rather do the pregame. And then you never know, maybe a wild card whenever guys have time or we have something to talk about. You never know what might unfold in the season, but definitely Mondays and definitely Saturday or Sunday mornings. And then the third day, if we do a third day, will kind of just be a floater and whatever works for us.
All right. Well, that sounds like a plan, sir.
You got any final word? As Olivia's joining, this is her year.
Yeah. Thank you, Olivia. This is the year. No, for me, just keep checking us out and looking for the shows, and we'll keep producing content and trying to entertain the people if we can. Everyone listen to us.
We have a lot of great things coming. Remember, you could find us multiple ways. Buccateers, Buck What You Heard. You could look up either one on YouTube and find us on YouTube. Also, if you're not a YouTube fan, if you're like, man, I'm never really around this time, I'm at work, well, search for us on either Apple, Spotify, or Google at Buccateers, and you can find any of the Buck What You Heard or Buccateers ran shows on there as well. But YouTube, always Buccateers or Buck What You Heard. You'll be able to find us, subscribe to both channels, like all the videos. It really helps us out, and it helps you out because, you're more prone to know about our pods when we go live and stuff. But Gene, it's been a pleasure. Great first time back for a week and a half. As Bud says, need that worst contract news. It'll come.
It will come.
Very confident that will happen. Is there. Gene, you are the best. You are the best. As we know you mean it with love, regardless of what you say. So whether it's Gene, myself,
I've heard way worse. So.
Oh, I mean, I won't repeat what I heard earlier, but I heard way worse as well. That's all I'll say. I heard way worse as well. So between Emily, Olivia, BB King, Bud Cannibalist, and the guys on Facebook, Pep and Steppen, El Monito, David Ferrara, The Godfather, James Rubright, wherever you're tuning in from, Buccateers, Buck What You Heard, Facebook, YouTube. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we'll either be back Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you never know, but we'll be back Monday the latest. And again, in-season structure, Monday night, Saturday or Sunday mornings, and a wild card day. And we're going to have a ton of stuff. The Bear Tournament, the Buccateers Cookbook, pregame shows, great guests. Stay right here on Buccateers Podcast and Buck What You Heard. Gene, Tampa Tones, and the rest of the crew. we won't let you down. But Gene, happy Taco Tuesday, brother. I appreciate you joining, and great to talk to you, my man. Always great to talk Bucs ball with a brother of mine, and you are a brother of mine. So blessed for that.
Same here. Feelings mutual, my friend.
You have a great Tuesday night, and yeah, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure, one way or another, my man.
All right, brother.
Fire the damn cannons, go Bucs. Gene and Tone's out of the building. Buck what you heard in Buccateers. Until next time, thank you, everybody, and go Bucs. Thank you. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was just ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Bucs fans were there too. The Bucs.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little.
No, my camera's broke.